my wife wasn't going to start on it at first. And then she said, okay, I think I want to give this a go, because she saw how awesome it was for me and how I was feeling and that kind of stuff. She tried it out and then discovered it just was not for her, for whatever reason. And, it was really important for us to, at that point, to have a very real conversation and sit down and say, okay, what are we doing for meals? How is this going to work for you, and how is it going to work for the rest of the family? And we came to some great solutions in that conversation, but just having that conversation was a really important element of my success.
Yes.
They say a journey begins in a single step, or in my case, one less piece of bread. My name is Chad, and I'm your test subject. I have sought out an expert in the field of nutrition and fitness who I hoped would help me feel, better. They call him the biohacker, but I call him Eric. I hope you'll join me on a path that leads you and I to optimal fitness as we live our lives in ketosis. This is the Life in Ketosis podcast, a biohacker's guide to optimal body performance.
Hello everyone, my name is Chad, and this is episode 27 of my quest to achieving optimal body performance with the man that can get me there, the biohacker himself, Mr. Eric Bischoff. Every episode, I'll be sharing my actual results, both successes and failures, as Eric teaches me how to apply the principles of ketogenics and functional movement to look and feel fantastic. As a quick reminder, I remind you every episode, but I'm going to do it again, so bear with me. Our first 5 episodes of this podcast are foundational episodes. That's where you get your foundational knowledge on the principles that we're talking about here. So if you haven't listened to those, we encourage you to push pause now, go back, listen to those first 5 episodes, and then join us back here. We're going to have some fun today. Because today we're talking about getting started on the ketogenic diet. And this is pretty funny because, we're 27 episodes in now, and we're just now doing one on getting started. But I think it's great because we've had a lot of questions. We've seen a lot of people fail at starting. We've seen a lot of people be successful at starting. And I think we have some good topics to talk about today to kind of help people push them towards success. And really, everything that we approach in life, in my opinion, the success of its outcome is contingent on our preparation. And so ultimately, this podcast for me, and I don't know for you, Eric, but for me, this is very much about a preparation podcast. How do we prepare our lifestyles to be on to live a ketogenic lifestyle? What types of things help ease what some might look at as a burden at first, right? And I'm going to talk a little bit about that too, because I think that's the biggest comment that we get on our Instagram, on our Facebook, at BioFit Coaching is the handles for all of those. You can go check it out. People comment all the time. I'm thinking about doing this, but it looks hard, And so we really wanted to just break this down into a few steps, not even steps, but just a few ways of preparation and ways to get ready to go ketogenic. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds good.
Good. How are you doing today?
Good. I'm doing pretty good.
Awesome.
Better.
So the first...
Got some energy. I'm good.
Good. So the first thing we want to talk about is commitment. Now, I said, one big determiner of our success in anything is our preparation. I think coupled with that, hand in hand, is our commitment, right?
Yes.
If we are committed to something, we will make it happen. And I don't need to tell you that.
Right.
You're somebody who has proven time and time again that you are going to do something that seems hard or seems impossible at times, and align your commitment and get it done.
Well, I keep trying.
Yeah.
Keep trying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Always trying.
I'm interested to know, as we dive into these subtopics, what's your relationship with commitment? How does it sit in your mind when you make up your mind to do something? What does that look like?
I first, the way I am, I put knowledge behind my commitment. Okay, basically, first you want to discover why. Okay, personally, what is my intention? What's the reason behind me making this commitment? For what purpose? I'm one of those guys that I'm always talking about real intent. All right?
Yeah.
I won't go into that, but it's really, if it's coming from the heart, it's real intent. Okay, if it's coming for some other. I've been driven by ego and pride and competitiveness and all sorts of things have driven me to make commitments. Okay, So it's a lot of different things to make you a commitment. But number one is I put knowledge behind my commitment. The more I know about it, which a lot of people don't need the knowledge. Like my wife, she'd rather just say, "Tell me what to do, but don't tell me why I'm doing it." And I'm not mocking that at all. She trusts me. And she says, I'll go with your knowledge. Why do I need to duplicate what's making you make that commitment?
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm one that says, well, if you really know more about it, you're going to make it a little deeper commitment.
Yeah.
Here. So knowledge is one of the big ones for me.
I love that. That is awesome.
That's one of
I think that's one that I neglected to put on the list for the discussion today, but I love that.
And I didn't even know your topic
knowledge
before
collection.
you.
Yeah.
You just told me the topic in the intro, and I'm like, it would have been nice to think about this a little bit. But you say I do better on the fly anyway. Then I don't go so sciencey all the time.
And we love the science, but also we get to keep it pretty surface level and real at the same time. So the first thing that I have under commitment is setting specific goals, clear and specific goals. Just saying that you're just going to do this thing really is. I couldn't think of a worse way to approach this. To just say, I'm just going to do this with no intention, no goal. Where do I want to go? How long am I going to do it? And be really specific with your goals.
Yes.
I'm going to be ketogenic until I hit this, or for this long, or I'm going to commit for the commitments that I love and I think I see most success in, and I'd be interested in your take as well, but are the ones that say I'm going to be in it for this long, 8 weeks, and then I'm going to be open to recommitting. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to commit to 8 weeks. That's what I'm looking forward to right now. And here's my incremental goals within that, right? So I have my daily goals, I have my weekly goals, and I have my monthly goals, and then I have my overall 8-week goal.
Exactly.
That's what works for me. What does works for me. So I re-up my 8-week goal every 8 weeks.
That's good.
Yep. And I reevaluate how I worked, how I did, what worked, what didn't work, all of that kind of stuff. And then I recommit and I actually put the date on the calendar. This is when I'm going, this is my reevaluation period.
And also you have to have a basic idea of what your expectations are going to be at that 8-week period.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know I have trouble when I'm coaching is 8 weeks. I want a little more time to undo the 20, 30, 40 years that you've been abusing your body. And everybody loves a quick turnaround, the easy fix. But what other program in 8 weeks, I've been around a lot of programs and nutrition programs, diet programs, however you want to call it. In 8 weeks, you actually feel something so different, okay? Because if you're just calorie counting and crashing your metabolic rate and all, you've been down that path, everybody has, you don't feel so good, And, I can force you as a coach and beat you every day and take you through workouts and make you starve yourself and yell at you if you ate a pizza or just whatever. Yeah. I can get results out of you in 8 weeks. I can. But as soon as you leave me, it's all going to come back.
Yeah.
Because you were basically responding to how hard I was hitting you. You out of fear maybe or whatever the motive. I got results, but if it's not lifestyle, and like you said, every 8 weeks, you reevaluate your lifestyle step and see where you went. Okay. Yeah. But I'd love more than 8 weeks. But you did that with me. You said, I'll see. But you started feeling just right off the bat. Some people it takes a little while longer to get the keto really going. Yeah.
And one thing I'll say about that too is like when I started, within the first 6 weeks of me starting, my very first 8-week commitment, one of those weeks, a week and 2 days actually, was our big yearly family vacation. Oh, and so, I mean, when we do those vacations, it's no holds barred. It's all kinds of food and social. And so it was that commitment. And I made that commitment. I knew it was 8 weeks that kept me keto through that vacation,
Right.
and I did not regret it at all. It was amazing.
Really? I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, it was.
I was worried about you. I am. You know, everybody's like, well, all right, can you withstand this? And a lot of people, like you, did not. What I thought you were going to say, hey, I'm going on this big trip. I had it planned a long time ago. Can I scale out?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I really rather. Once you start your ketosis, that first 8-week period, it's really critical.
I did not want to
out.
break it within that 8-week period.
Because I've got to get you in.
Yeah.
You've got to get the beta. Got to get your body utilizing it.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. So my second point under
Yeah.
commitment is getting an accountability partner.
Very good.
Somebody who will hold you to the carpet, hold you to the rug, right?
Yeah.
Not somebody who's going to give in to your same sort of psyches, because there's going to be times where you're going to be like, oh, I can just do this one. And some of those, those friends or those partners or whatever that are going to be like, yeah, you could just have one.
Just one.
You know,
Just one. It's not going to hurt you.
they need to be somebody who's really invested in you
Yeah.
and your journey and is bought into your goals and all of that kind of stuff, so that when you do come at a moment of weakness and say, hey, I want to do this, or I'm thinking about doing this, they will stick up for you, for the person who made the commitment.
Because it's like with
right?
you, when I started coaching you and your wife, your wife basically just felt the keto wasn't the route she wanted to go. And hey, that's fine. And I was like, I was really worried that, all right, I lost a team here. You lost support from each other, accountability. Now I thought, how's that going to play out? And I was worried, but your wife's totally supportive of you.
Yeah, she's very supportive.
Not a problem whatsoever.
Yeah.
She's there. She makes you ice cream and different things.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, she takes on. I mean, she took on the primary responsibility of providing food for our family. That means grocery shopping and cooking.
Because you're in a bus 13 hours a day.
So that sounds out of context.
That's right.
I'm not a bus driver.
You're building a bus.
Yeah.
Well, you're making a bus.
Yeah. So
You
she's.
say it.
No, you're good. So that's she's kind of taken on that role for our family, and she supports me a ton, and she's been a great accountability partner. If she knows I'm serious about it, she will keep me accountable.
Because I have it easy. My wife is keto, and so we just bounce back. Hey, who's making dinner tonight? Who's doing this? I say, well, I'll make dinner. Well, it's really, we just hold it. There's times where I've actually scaled out to do a test for a self-experiment, my glycogen, liver stuff, I do all that stuff. And I say, hey, why don't you scale out with me? And because it's like, I want, and she's like, no, I'm not scaling out. I'm not going through getting back in. I don't like how I feel.
Yeah.
And she really doesn't like how she feels. And I'm like, come on, I got to go out for 2 days. This, we can go to Olive Garden and, whatever, enjoy it. And she's like, nope, you're on your own.
You're a terrible accountability partner.
I know. Here I am trying to bribe her out of it.
Eric, the best coach, but most terrible non-hired accountability
If
partner.
I'm not in keto, I'm coaching you out. No,
I'm just kidding.
No.
And then my final point under this one is to be realistic. And when I talk about being realistic in your commitment and goal setting and all that kind of stuff, it's steering away from unrealistic expectations of weight loss by a certain time. Yes. All of us have different bodies. All of us are processing the beta differently. We have different experiences going in, all that kind of stuff. So be realistic in your commitment. Only worry about the things you can control. Right? Which is your consumption. That is the one thing you can control. You cannot control how your body reacts to it.
Because we get to the hormones, and that's up to me to try to figure out for you and the others that I do.
Yeah.
The consumption, that's what you can do.
Right. That's the only thing you can control in your commitment. And so be realistic. Make sure it's things that are within your control so that you avoid discouragement and failing. And just commit. And man, when you get to the end of that commitment and it's reevaluation time, it feels so good, to be like, I did that. Right. That was incredible. And I hear the same thing from you and from other people that make fasting goals and make all of these sort of things. It's like, yes, physically I feel good because I did these things, but mentally I feel incredible because I did something that was challenging at times. I did something that was good for me, and I really feel it. So that's cool.
That's cool. Yeah, very important.
So the second point I want to bring out is physical preparation. Preparing yourself for the ketogenic diet. So first one on my list is food. You're going to make some changes. You're going to be buying some things you didn't normally buy. You're going to not be buying some things you used to buy. Yes. And most likely there's going to be some residue of some of those foods in the kitchen or in the house somewhere.
Exactly.
My encouragement to you, and I've said it on the podcast before, my encouragement to you is cleanse the kitchen. And the rest of the house. I know my wife has a secret candy drawer next to the bed, so I just stay away from it. But if that's you, if you have that drawer, cleanse the drawer.
Get it out of sight.
Yeah, just get it out of there. The
Sooner or
temptation's
later,
gone.
as you know, when you're in really ketosis, those cravings are gone, and it doesn't bother you.
Yep.
It really. I have grandkids that are, and I still, I'll take them out for a treat,
Yeah.
But no, it's not there. The cravings aren't there.
Right.
And that's what's so powerful about keto, and we've talked about that a lot. But
Yeah, and sometimes you trick yourself to think that the temptation's there, and then you do it, and you're like, no,
it wasn't there.
That's not good.
It's an emotional attachment. Like, wow, this thing used to make me happy. Why doesn't it make me happy?
Yeah, it's an
anymore?
emotional addiction. That's a great way of putting it.
Yeah, it really
sure.
is. And a lot, as I coach, they all go through that.
So
Every
this,
keto
This has
person goes
been
through that.
comforting me for 20,
this is
30,
my
40,
go-to.
50 years. Yeah.
I said
absolutely.
a biofitter the other day. He said, I think I already talked about it, how at their as the place of employment, there's a snack shop that's it was his go-to every time he felt that little low.
Yeah.
That was his pick-me-up.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was his date. You
Yeah.
know? I'm gonna
Yeah.
go get my chips and my soda and my Snickers, and I'm good to go.
Yeah.
And people look forward to that.
Yep.
Because you're at work, you're having a bad day. Yeah, something make you feel good.
Yep.
But then you replace it with eggs and bacon and all sorts of stuff.
So prep with your food. The other
Yes.
thing is having good shopping lists, good recipes. Just arm yourself with every tool. And I'm going to get to tools, so there's
Yes.
going to be a little bit of overlap as well. But just arm yourself, prepare your food ahead of time so that you don't get into the second week and fail because you realize you weren't ready. Or you didn't have the shopping list, or you didn't have that recipe to mix things up, or that sort of thing.
And then the stress of that could take you out of your game.
Yep,
Yeah, because then
absolutely.
you're just in panic mode, like, what do I eat? What do I
Yes.
eat? Then you just fall back to, I'm just going to eat this. 'Cause
Yep.
I don't know what else I'm going to eat. And
Yeah.
I'm hungry, and I'm just going to,
Yeah.
I'll do it tomorrow. So it's
Yeah.
really dangerous.
My fallback snack was always toast with cinnamon and sugar on it.
Oh, really?
Always. I mean,
Always.
if I didn't know what to eat, but I was
Yeah.
hungry or feeling a little
I'm a
snacky or whatever, it was toast.
I'm a toast guy.
And so I had to really make sure I had a plan, a food plan for when I wanted to just grab that piece of toast.
Piece of toast.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's good.
I made sure I had celery, olives, pickles, all of that kind of stuff in the fridge so that I could go to those when I thought I was craving the toast.
Yeah, in fact, we have a keto tip coming out on all those you just named.
Yeah.
The go-to.
Freebies, yeah.
You need those go-to freebies. You've
Yeah.
got to have them.
Yep, for sure. My second point under this one is family.
Yeah, that's big.
Prepping with your family, whether you're married, whether you're living in the house with others, if you're not, what's the healthiest way to work with our family when we're approaching a ketogenic diet? And so for me, my wife wasn't going to start on it at first, and then she said, okay, I think I want to give this a go, because she saw how awesome it was for me and how I was feeling and that kind of stuff. She tried it out and then discovered it just was not for her, for whatever reason. And it was really important for us to, at that point, to have a very real conversation and sit down and say, okay, what are we doing for meals? What, how is this going to work for you, and how is it going to work for the rest of the family? And we came to some great solutions in that conversation, but just having that conversation was a really important element of my success.
Yes. And it's so, if you can, I have 5 kids, all right, and if you can imagine them living with me, because here I am, always health conscious, working out, pushing exercise, pushing health, pushing foods, and it got to the point where, and they're like, they just avoided the
they
subject.
got an aversion to
they would
it,
never. The whole thing is like, no, don't ask Dad why. Don't ask him. They would never. they would just take back a question because then I would have to go into it. And they're like, never ask Dad why. Just make that the rule, you know.
Yeah.
So I kind of pushed them away a little bit, but over the years, I've learned how to communicate better and not in a condescending way or like I know more than you, do this or don't do this, why are you being this way, pay attention, your kids are eating Captain Crunch, but I've learned to just zip it, and they'll ask me, the quieter I am about it, and I have a couple keto, I do, and so that's exciting, and so you care about something so passionately, and if it's so healthy, okay, I'm not saying one size fits all, but obviously I want to share it.
Yeah. Well, that's a sub point with this in family is communication is so big. I mean, the right communication, and then don't become a weirdo or a preacher. That's what that's my advice to anybody and everybody. Don't become a keto preacher.
I've been there.
And I've been with you.
I know. Like my wife says, you just talk to the cashier about this? Because they asked me a question. Why do I have liver? And so I was going through the checkout and I had my liver. And she goes, oh, you eat that? And I just went right into the benefits of liver, and I was all excited. And she's like, my wife's tapping me like, stop it. and she goes, he's right in front of me. She goes, she's rolling her eyes. I'm like, oh, you are? She goes, well, it's kind of interesting, but I hate liver. That was it. So I'm learning. Don't engage me.
Yeah. I just think, we talk a lot about functional ketogenic lifestyle. We talk about going to family parties and choosing those opportunities sometimes as your opportunity to scale out.
Yeah.
Just so that you're not that person that everybody rolls their eyes when you walk into the room because you won't shut up about your keto.
Very good point. Very good point.
And the key of the ketogenic lifestyle is to make your life better. Mm-hmm. And our lives are better when we have good, solid, real relationships with our family and our friends.
Yes.
And there's nothing more alienating. I'll tell you this right now. There's nothing more alienating. And it doesn't feel this way when you're the person in the chair experiencing the benefits, right? Because you just want to tell everybody. Mm-hmm. And you want to shout it from the mountaintops. But everybody else is thinking it, and I'm just going to tell you, they're wanting you to shut up.
I've been told that. I have learned.
and when they are good and ready, and this is the other cool thing that I've experienced. Mm-hmm. When they are good and ready, and you alluded to it, that you said, when I'm quiet, they ask questions. Mm-hmm. I've experienced a lot of my friends coming to me, sometimes, I mean, mostly just recently. So it's been over 6 months since I started on ketogenic, and I've just let people know that I'm on it and I feel great. And if they have any questions, I'm open to them. And just now, I'm getting an influx of friends who are writing me and even saying, I decided to give it a go. I didn't tell you or anybody else, but I am loving it, and it's incredible. And here's what I'm experiencing, and I'm doing this and this, and texts about what the benefits that they're getting and that kind of stuff. And so I've loved that, and I really attribute that to my ability to restrain from shouting at them and being the evangelist that I know.
And my problem, we call it a problem or whatever, is when I see the value of something so therapeutic like this, and I see, metabolic syndrome, type 2 diabetes, and people with hypertension, and really some illnesses. Just the other day, I was in the locker room, and a gentleman, I just got done with my swim, and a gentleman was telling another gentleman, says, well, I'm in cancer treatment. He's probably 70-something years old, and they're talking about their cancer, and then I was just standing there getting dressed, and next thing you know, they're talking about the treatment, and next thing they asked me a question in regard to cancer, and then I just went into my mitochondrial metabolic theory versus somatic mutation theory and said avoid glucose, and I caught myself like, oh my gosh, here I am preaching, and this guy's in chemo already. And so I turned that around to be more supportive and not be the teacher.
Yeah.
But I would have loved to talk to him for like an hour, and I would have loved to. But it's out there, and I got to watch my passion sometimes because I overstep my bounds a little bit.
So my point in all that is, don't be a weirdo. Learn how to communicate about it.
Yes.
Don't be a preacher. But but enjoy it, and enjoy your life and enjoy the benefits. And I don't think there's anything wrong with sharing the benefits with people, but just leave it at that. I mean, I'm feeling great today. Keto's awesome.
And you're right, because it's almost when I sometimes come across, I don't want to say, you're wrong, I'm right. What you're doing is wrong, and I really have to thread that sometimes and say,
Yep.
gotta be careful.
All right, so my third one.
It's a good one for me. It's a good podcast for me.
Good. So I'm finally teaching you something.
Yeah, I know.
So my third one is tools. Make sure you have a good quiver of tools that you can pull from throughout this process. You're going to need them. They are essential, right? And so I feel like everything we've already talked about could actually fall under this category. I struggled a little bit, so there is that overlap. I definitely think that an accountability partner is a tool. I think that recipe books and ingredients and shopping lists are tools. Proper communication is a tool. So I get that.
And knowledge is a tool.
And knowledge is absolutely a tool. But there's a few others that I'm going to talk about underneath this category. So first one, testers.
Yes.
Making sure that you are testing yourself so that you know that you're producing ketones at a viable rate that is going to give you the benefits that you're going after for a ketogenic lifestyle, right? So, so urine testers will work for what, the first 1 to 2 weeks?
Yeah, no.
Not even that long?
Not even that
3
long.
days?
I can get people out 7. I like them to go a week because that's probably the period that it takes for, basically your acetoacetate is what you're testing through the urine. And that's the first ketone you start producing. And remember, acetoacetate will convert to beta-hydroxybutyrate. So it's, some people, 5 to 10 days, and, in that range. And so they start getting color, and then we move them over to the blood test for beta.
And then a blood test. Keto Mojo is the one that we use. There's a couple out there that are available. Also glucose testing.
Yes, I'm a big, as you know, I coach and big fan of that. And I teach that. I want to know what your fasting glucose is. And I have a lot of biofitters that have A1C, they're pre-diabetic or type 2 diabetic. So, and it's exciting, the type 2 diabetics now, they have never been in the 90s with fasting glucose in the morning, 120s and above, okay? And they're so excited when, I have them test and they report it to me, and they've never been this low before. And it's just awesome.
That's
what it's about too.
Yeah, for sure. And then my final point under this subpoint of tools is, I think it comes back to ultimately what I was trying to get across was your point of knowledge, and seeking out knowledge wherever you can. So the ones that I listed out are Facebook groups. There's a lot of fantastic, really supportive, knowledge-rich or information-rich Facebook groups out there, and not limited to Facebook. I mean, there's YouTube channels, there's and then podcasts, of course. Obviously, this one that you're listening to, but there's also some other great ones that have a different approach, and all of that knowledge is fantastic. And I know you listen to a lot of podcasts.
And I like it because I get a different view, or different knowledge base that says, what they're saying. Sometimes I hear incorrect things, and I'm probably sure I've said incorrect things too because I don't go back over it. So, and there's always slip-ups, but sometimes there is some that are teaching a different way, and you just be careful. I mean, like anything, you've got to pay attention to it.
And I love your caution there, because also some of the resources that we have in the past looked to be a knowledge base for health is not giving the greatest information about ketogenics. I mean, like the medical field is just barely starting to recognize the benefits,
and they don't want to.
They don't want to, and the government especially is not gonna get there for a while, because of you have to follow the money. You have to figure out who's funding the studies, who's funding the campaigns, all of that kind of stuff. And so there aren't those traditional places for you to look for your knowledge base on a ketogenic lifestyle.
And you got to be careful. Most of all, media. Media will just put 3 sentences in a headline that ketogenic raises cortisol. Then all of a sudden you're like, I can't do ketogenic. Then you read through the article and there's nothing behind it, but it's that media with that first 2 sentences can destroy so many things and just take you down the wrong path.
Yeah.
So verify, verify, verify.
Yep.
And that's
Absolutely.
why, if you find a coach or find somebody that you just let them do the verification and all the digging and the studying. So.
Yeah. Well, so these are
tricky.
the things that I wished this is the conversation I wish I had been a part of when I started, right? It was somebody else talking about their getting started, some of the things they wish they had or they did have while they started that made it easier. I hope it's done the same for everybody else as we've talked about it. Is there anything that you wanted to add to the list to encourage people, help them get started, make them feel a little bit more comfortable with this lifestyle?
There's so many people doing it. So right now, you basically like a testimony. You have a testimony of a lot of people out there doing it.
Yep.
Okay, practicing the keto. You've heard, you've seen. They've discussed the benefits, their perks, your friends. But more than anything, the scientific knowledge is backing it up. Okay, it's getting the cardiovascular doctors out there, the lipidologists I've said before, the scientists. Some of the most crucial research papers are being done on ketogenics. And so not just from everybody spouting it, you can actually get the research is coming behind it. That's what's exciting about it. That's why this train is not going to stop.
Yeah.
That train is starting and it's going. And,
Yeah.
and the doctors out there, the cholesterol, the ones that are talking about your blood lipids and stuff, they're going to have to get on board. The diabetic issues out there, they're going to have to get on board, and more it's happening. That's why it's exciting.
Yeah.
Real exciting about
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. Well, thanks so much for biohacking with us today.
I appreciate it.
And I want to thank you for joining us on this quest for optimal fitness. If you're ready to begin your own journey and live your life in ketosis, be sure to check out biofitcoaching.com or Biofit Coaching on Facebook. Great conversations going on there. That's a place you can find this information specifically to getting started, tips, all of that kind of stuff. There's some really good stuff there to help you succeed in your ketogenic lifestyle. Also, if this podcast has helped you in any way, we want to invite you to go onto iTunes and give us a 5-star rating and a comment telling people why you like the podcast, how it's helped you, so that we can reach more people and continue this podcast. And until next time, stay keto.